Fellow film fans, what up? It's your boy Tay, and this is Tay Talks Talkies. And in honor of International Podcast Day, which is today, September 30th, I figured I would rank the top 5 actors who do podcasts. Let's go.
I guess you wonder where I've been.
Starting with an honorable mention, Dax Shepard. He's married to Bay, he's married to Sarah Marshall.
Lucky son of a bitch.
His filmography is not so extensive. That's why he's not even on my top 5. However, he needs to be mentioned because his podcast, Armchair Expert, is so fantastic. And he's been in some bangers. He's been in Idiocracy. He's been in Without a Paddle. He's been in Zathura. He's been in Employee of the Month. All films worth checking out. So I had to mention Dax Shepard. Now, number 5, Jenna Fisher. She played Pam in The Office, of course, Pam. Everyone loves Pam.
I love you, Pam.
She was in Blades of Glory. She was in Hall Pass. And she was in one of my favorite comedies, Walk Hard, The Dewey Cox Story, starring John C. Reilly. That film is fantastic. Her podcast, Office Ladies, with co-star Angela Kinsey. They became best friends from The Office, and they started a podcast, and they talk about every episode of The Office. So if you're an Office lover, check out Office Ladies. Next, number 4, she was Cindy in Scary Movie, Anna Faris. She has Anna Faris is Unqualified. That's her podcast. A fantastic podcast where she basically just dives into life, gets people on, talks about topics, and it's a great podcast. She was in Scary Movie 1, 2, 3, and 4. She was in Rob Schneider's The Hot Chick. I mean, she was in Brokeback Mountain, Oscar-winning Brokeback Mountain. So definitely an actress worth talking about, and her podcast is fantastic. Next, number 3, he has a podcast with his brother Christian called Life is Short, where basically he tries to explore how to get the most out of life, how to really optimize the juice you're squeezing out of the life lemon. And that's Justin Long. And with films like Dodgeball, Idiocracy, which funny enough, he was in the same exact scene as Dax Shepard. Something with the podcasters there. He was in Waiting. Again, funny enough, with Anna Faris, who was just on our list as well. So something there with Justin Long working with all these podcasters in the past. He was in Accepted. He was in Jeepers Creepers. We first saw him in Galaxy Quest, one of the most underrated films of all time. Justin Long is just somebody I've always been endeared to because I've always seen him in films ever since I was younger. First saw him in Galaxy Quest, and then as I kept getting older, his films really fit my demographic. I saw Accepted when I was of age, and I saw a bunch of his other films. Jeepers Creepers I watched with my mom and sister, and that was just a great time. So he's an actor that's near and dear, and his podcast is definitely worth checking out. Next, number 2, she has a podcast called The Goop Podcast, named after her beauty care line. She was in amazing films like Shallow Hal, Iron Man, and David Fincher 7. She's Gwyneth Paltrow, and although I'm not as big of a fan of hers as I am with the other actors I named, her talent's undeniable. Her podcast definitely is not my thing. I won't be tuning into her podcast, but I'm sure she has a huge audience, mostly women, I'm sure. And basically I'm putting her number 2 because I love 7 and Iron Man so goddamn much. And now, the greatest podcaster actor of all time is Russell Brand. Yes, Forgetting Sarah Marshall is one of my favorite films of all time, not only comedies but just in general. That film is a masterpiece. Get Him to the Greek is hilarious. Him as Aldous Snow, all the music they made, it is iconic. He is hilarious, truly quite the character, and his podcast Under the Skin is so explorative, it is so thought-provoking, and it is truly one of the most important podcasts in existence. There's no topic that's too taboo for him to talk about, and the way he approaches them is about as objective as a human could ever approach anything, and that's why I really admire him, and that's why I really respect him. And combined with his performances as Aldous Snow, I just have to put him as the number 1 greatest actor podcaster of all time. Keep doing what you're doing, Russell. Happy International Podcast Day, everybody. And I'll see you guys soon. Tay out.